Listen up, Christians. Before you toss the biblical feasts into the Old Testament old news bin, let's have a chat. I want to talk to you today about not ditching the biblical feasts. These feasts, Passover, Shavuot, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, and the others, they are God's high holy days. They are very special days straight out of Leviticus 23. They aren't just ancient Jewish get-togethers, right? They are divine appointments, and they point us to Jesus, our Messiah, and they will powerfully impact our faith. So don't reject the biblical feasts, because the best event planner is God, and you are invited. Leviticus 23 calls them the Lord's appointed times, right? So they're not Israel's optional picnics. These feasts were God's idea. Passover celebrates deliverance. I mean, hello, Jesus, our Passover lamb. Shavuot marks the giving of the Torah and the Spirit. And the fall feasts like Rosh Hashanah and Sukkot, they just scream, get ready for the Messiah's encore, right? I mean, rejecting them is it's like RSVPing no to God's VIP bash, right? I mean, who does that? If the Messiah, Jesus, thought these feasts were worth his time, why do we so often act like they are last season's fashion? I mean, the feasts are not dusty old rituals. They're not boring history lessons. They're like a Marvel movie, right? With a prophetic plot twist. The spring feasts, Passover, first fruits, those foreshadow the death and resurrection of Jesus. The fall feasts are like the trailer for his return. You know, Rosh Hashanah's shofar blasts, they hint at the trumpet call of his coming. Yom Kippur points to final atonement and judgment, and Sukkot is all about God's tabernacling with us forever. I mean, if you don't know this, you're missing the sneak peek of God's end game. Listen, Christianity didn't pop up in a vacuum, right? It's grafted into the Jewish olive tree, and the feasts are the roots, and they keep you grounded, keep your faith grounded, showing how Jesus fulfills the Torah, not cancels it. I mean, early Jewish believers participated in these feasts while preaching Jesus. And so ignoring them is like saying, thanks for the Bible, Israel, but, we'll take it from here. No. So embrace the feasts to honor your faith's heritage. It's not cultural appropriation. It's biblical appreciation. The feasts are like a workout for your faith. It's like a spiritual gym for your soul. Rosh Hashanah's shofar wakes you up for repentance. Yom Kippur's fasting gets you serious about forgiveness. Sukkot's booth building reminds you that life is temporary, so focus on the eternal. If you reject these feasts, then it's like being stuck on a spiritual couch and you're just munching on complacency. Come on, let's get moving with God's calendar. Passover's matzah and wine, it's delicious. Sukkot's camping out in the backyard under the stars, I mean, that's just epic. These feasts aren't just spiritual, they're actually a lot of fun. Jews have been throwing these God-ordained parties for millennia. And Christians are invited to the table. So why settle for second best when you can feast with prophetic purpose? The biblical feasts are God's way of weaving his story into our lives. They're not Jewish only or Old Testament relics. They're for all believers who call Jesus Messiah. They connect us to our Jewish roots. They reveal the redemptive work of Jesus, and they prepare us for his return. The very first believers, those early Jewish believers, saw absolutely no conflict between the feasts and their faith, and neither should we. So don't ditch the feasts. Grab a shofar, break some matzah, and join the celebration.